Hello, hey guys. I'm gonna start read aloud number 5. This is the beginning of this it's labeled later, as in later in the day on Wednesday, the 10th of April, 1912. So that's where we're gonna start on page 72. I was just interrupted in my writing, but it was a pleasure as the deck steward served me a hot mug of broth. I cannot get over how delightful it is to have people bring you things without even being asked. The liquid tastes beefy and rich and full of goodness from the marrow. I expect to be quite stout when this voyage is over. She expects to gain some pounds. Shortly before noon, Mrs. Carstairs and I went along with the general flow of passengers heading for the upper decks. Florence remained behind, sleeping on Mrs. Carstairs' canopy bed. Instead of taking a lift at this time, we climbed what I heard people calling the grand staircase. It was unquestionably a very impressive piece of architectural artistry. Broad mahogany steps winding upward with a dome-shaped glass skylight above. A statue of a cherub holding a light aloft graced the middle railing, and the beautiful carved wooden clock with a pair of intricately detailed figures dominated the wall at the top of the landing. The time read 11:50. The railings up on the boat deck were so crowded that we could find no place to stand. We moved down to B deck and found a small open space along the promenade. I felt a shiver of excitement each time the steam whistles blew, trumpeting our departure. The air seemed filled with a sense of tremendous anticipation. Below us, the quay was also jammed by an enthusiastic crowd of people waving their handkerchiefs or hats and shouting farewells. In return, our passengers were also waving and tossing single flowers or even full bouquets over the side. Some splashed into the water while others were caught by lucky onlookers. I am sure I will never be able to forget that feeling of shared festivity and jubilation. The Titanic is such a large ship that a group of tugboats have been assembled to tow us away out into Southampton water. As we began to move ever so slightly, a tremendous cheer rose up. There were other boats berthed nearby, and their passengers and crew members were waving at us too. Out of nowhere came several sharp, cracking sounds. I was afraid part of the ship had been broken apart, but then saw a smaller ship break free of its mooring ropes and veer in our direction. It looked as though she might crash right into us. Some of the people by the railing didn't even notice, while others gasped. The Titanic did not seem to be able to turn out of the way in time, but then a wave of water slowed the other ship and one of the tugboats steered it to safety. An Englishman standing a few feet away from us said, "Well, what can you expect from a ship called the New York?" Mrs. Carstairs was not the only American nearby who did not laugh at this. My fellow Brits, though, were almost uniformly amused. There was something of a delay as the New York was secured, and I heard people grumble about being thrown off schedule. To me, it seemed a minor mishap and hardly worth complaining about. Hold on. Shh.